Hey, everybody, and welcome to Signals from the Frontline, your every Wednesday live broadcast brought to you by Frontline Gaming. We're all back tonight, so we've got Kicker, the chief of cereal on FLG Insider. Woo-woo.
Woohoo!
We have Shelby, the hobby guru and most effervescent player in 40K.
I still don't know what that word means.
We'll figure that out. And I'm
Lovely.
Seth, the Mad Doc, your competitive correspondent. Welcome. We're all back. Woo!
Yeah, we are. Guys, I missed you so much. I mean,
we missed you, buddy.
And
so
look,
nice to
we're
have
all
everyone.
sporting nice, snazzy shirts.
Yes, we look professional now. We have fancy polos with our
I
logo.
definitely don't feel weird in them at all. Where's my Hawaiian shirt?
Oh,
I like that John tried to wear a collared shirt last night, and I was like, "Paul, you have no idea what you're in for."
bring it. Yeah, we're coordinated. All right, guys. Well, I'm
what
really
you
happy
up
to have.
to?
Yeah, well, I've been doing a lot of stuff right now, trying to get ready for a new army, and that means testing out new stuff like paintbrushes. Guys, have you tried the there's these white handle brushes that GW kind of like accidentally introduced?
The Citadel Synthetics?
Yeah, the
They're
STC
not accidental.
brand.
They announce them in everything.
Okay, well, I
Oops,
apparently didn't
all
really pay
synthetics.
attention. I got them shipped by accident in a box, and I guess I'm like, oh, I'll give these a try. And now I love them. Like, they're actually way cheaper. Well, not way cheaper. They're cheaper than all the other Citadel brushes, but I like them more. I don't know. They've got a nice like snap to them, I guess. And I don't know. I'm sold. So they're cheap. They're from Citadel, and they are surprisingly good. So yeah, check out the STC brushes. Shelby, what have you been up
STC?
to?
I
Yeah, well, I
that's
think
what
there's
they called them.
Citadel like synthetic, like STC stands for something. I'm not exactly sure what, but
Standard
synthetic.
template construct.
maybe. Shelby, what have you been up to?
So classes started on Monday, and I just sort of forgot how to teach the children, apparently, and like freaked out and had a day of just not remembering how to build a syllabus or run a lecture or anything. So that was fun. But I've found my sea legs once again. Other than that, just sort of painting up the changing boys. I don't hate how my Lord of Change has turned out. Also, side note, if you haven't been watching What If, the second episode is out today, and T'Challa is actually voiced by Chadwick Boseman. And it's like a post-mortem super amazing thing to listen to. So if you haven't watched it, you should, because it's really I got emotional. You probably won't, but whatever.
Well, that's because I don't have
really
art.
emotional. So
I'm an emotional guy. I cry all the time. Let's not talk about it though. Let's keep it going.
okay, Seth, how's it going? What you up to?
Still catching up on life after Charity Hammer. Just like I literally like last week, pretty much didn't do anything hobby wise, but over the weekend I finally caught up on sleep and started trying to get going in the hobby. And I'm embarking on a new project, something I've never done before. I'm trying to build a con safe foam cosplay choppa. So I've got all of it.
What?
Oh yes,
Is
that's
this
what I
going
was
to be
doing.
for LARPing or something? What's the game plan?
No, it's because I need to have a choppa at the table.
This is amazing.
Yes.
I'm so excited to see some weapons appear at it's going to be wonderful.
Seth, we expect to see this at the next turn. If you could do some like work in progress photos.
I don't know if I'm going to take it to the LVTT because I just don't know about I don't know how it's going to pack up for flying because I think it's going to be
just hold on to it.
I think it's going to be bigger than my suitcase.
Wow.
But I think I could definitely take it to the New Orleans events because that could just go in the back of a car and then I could just drive with the chop out the window.
I mean, and this is New Orleans. You probably should have some sort of weapon on hand.
Keep in mind, Kicker lives there, so it's not like he's bashing a city he's never been before.
I am living currently in New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. I can bash the city all I want.
Sure.
All right.
What news do you have for us?
Yeah, get us going, man.
Well, Shelby, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure Seth did, and I got to admit, I did. We bought Kill Team boxes. Have you bought a Kill Team box yet?
No, I'm not about that life.
Really? Oh, come on.
No, I love cool stuff, but honestly, if it's not the armies that I'm playing, I'm just I have such limited time for the hobby that I love anyways. I can't just add to it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
But I do love the box. I think it's awesome value. It's got some cool stuff.
The value's there, right? And so I know I'm going to use this stuff for 40K, but they gave us this extended rollout 2-week pre-order time, and I really thought about it, and I'm like, I think I'm going to play Kill Team. I think I'm going to give it a shot. I love 40K, maybe, but I have I don't have ADD, but I kind of have ADD. I don't know. And I'm like, maybe this is the game. This new edition of the game, because I did try the original edition. Maybe this new edition is going to be even snappier and faster to pick up and faster to play. And I need a game that I can fit in, every now and then when I've only got a couple hours. And let's just be honest, it's a new game. It could be amazing. The first edition was cool until they started rolling out all the other stuff that came with it.
Yeah, all the like, and now you can take a Space Marine captain, and you're like, this is Kill Team. What the hell is he doing here?
Yeah. Like, why is a dreadnought in this, urban combat? It was getting too much. Getting too much. So I don't know. I'm excited to try and play that, and I've really been like thinking, okay, like I'm going to try and get Kill Team in, and I know it's SoCal, which is coming up. They've been focusing hard on trying to grow the Kill Team tournament there because that'll be the first big, Frontline gaming tournament that they'll have Kill Team at, the new edition. So, but there haven't been really too many releases this week in terms of product, other than just, of course, Kill Team rolling out in another week. But there was that new Warzone book that they previewed, which is really exciting. Looks like NIDs are getting some serious love. Did you guys see the rules on that? That was kind of sneak peeked.
They're fixing. Well, I don't want to say fixing, but they're adding a lot of nuance to the synaptic stuff that currently exists. Is that right?
Yeah.
Synaptic links.
Yeah, and it seems like people are really excited about this. I mean, obviously with this book, it's going to be a Warzone book, so it's probably going to have 3, maybe 4 different armies that are all going to get some sort of little upgrade or perk. So that's about the only rules they've given so far was this one little 1 page, 2 page like Warhammer community article. But we have to assume that's coming out soon, but no date has been set yet. Yeah. I think we should probably discuss the upcoming codexes that have been kind of announced but not officially. What do you guys think they're going to be? Because we know something's happening in December, right? Can we
I mostly just wanted to wildly speculate with no evidence.
Go. Tell us what you think. Come on, give me.
Oh, mine. I know exactly what's coming out.
Oh, you know exactly what's coming. You say that with such certainty. All right,
do it. Go ahead.
Orcs in September.
That doesn't count. So GW did say some orcs were coming, as well as Black Templars, right?
Yep.
But then we have 2 mystery codexes coming out, I think, in December.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that it is Imperium and then either Chaos or Xenos, right?
No, they have said it is not Chaos. Chaos isn't getting anything until 2022.
That is a
poor souls.
No, they deserve that for what they've done.
Yeah, they totally
I have no sympathy
Heresy
for
bad.
Chaos players. None.
Heresy
None.
Bad. Well, then I wonder then if the Tyranids preview is just kind of like a preamble to the actual codex they're going to get later in the year.
Yeah,
that would make sense because they have been dropping these campaign books after the codexes have released, but things have got a little jumbled lately with the release schedule. So I could totally see them being like, we didn't really have the NID book ready, but we did have the NID supplement ready.
Well, isn't that what happened with AdMech, guys? They released the for Warzone Charizard or whatever we were calling it. That came out before Charizard. That came out before the AdMech Codex. So I mean, that wouldn't be unprecedented. But yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I really personally just hope that it's something totally new and random, at least for the Xenos, right? Like, I would love a new race added to the arena, right? Like, I'd love a new. Come on, we can dream here, right? We can dream.
Sure.
I think if and they're not going to do it obviously because I said no chaos, but I think if they're going to add one race to 40K, it's got to be Chaos Guard.
Chaos Guard. Ooh.
Yeah, because they're all over the lore. Like these traitor guardsmen and like these traitor regiments, and you're just like, why don't we have that?
Like, that literally be too hard, right? Like, that would be a pretty easy. Anyways, sorry, I did say wildly speculate. So good on you, Kicker.
Thank you. but like, Seth, you have a good point though. Like, literally, like half of the Gaunt's Go series are against Traitor Guard, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's like the majority of the bad guys. I don't know. Okay, but I mean, Shelby, take a wild, like anything. What would you want in December?
I don't know. Like, are you telling me to like pull something out of 40K lore?
Well, listen to what our producer's been yelling in our ear for like a minute.
Lore. Yeah, what is it? What does he say? Squats?
Do you not know what squats are?
Tell me to work out right now and do some squats. What?
Do you not know what squats are, Shelby?
Seth, help.
Squats are space dwarves.
Okay. So our producer is whispering in our ear right now, telling us that we should be pleading for squats. I would be totally cool with that. I mean, come on, Shelby. What do you think? Space dwarves?
I mean, that sounds pretty great to me. But like, honestly, I am a fantasy aesthetic person at heart, despite what I may be doing now. So bring in some dwarves. That's why I always lean towards like the really funky, not super sci-fi stuff, like stuff that is almost magical instead of like technological. That's what I typically go for. So.
All right. Kicker,
like
take us into what's going on with FLG now.
Yeah, guys. We have some fancy pants objective markers for everyone going to SoCal. These are event exclusive SoCal objective markers. You know, those fancy neoprene ones that everyone knows and loves. So many people have asked us, emailed us saying, hey, why doesn't FLG make these? You guys make the mats. Why aren't you making the objective markers? Well, now we are. You can only get them if you pre-order them from the website, and then you'll pick them up at SoCal. We'll probably be doing these for LVO as well, probably New Orleans.
And it's got the surfing witch on it, right?
Yes, it has the surfing witch.
I love that.
That was all Go Boy. Guys, we also have a brand new mat coming out. Yay, brand new mat. Can we get a photo of that? Producer man Richard.
Mat.
It's not Mars. This is City Map 2. Yes,
Oh,
it's a cleverly named City Map 2 because City
I
Map
like it.
1
I
has
like
already
the
been
yellow.
created. Yeah,
It's a little
it
pop.
looks like a modern or current day cityscape. This is a brand new map. We're excited about it for a few reasons. One is because it's just like a not destroyed cityscape. It's just like if you want to have like a city before the invasion happened. But also it's really good for Marvel Crisis Protocol.
I was about to say.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, that looks modern day.
Yeah. It's really an MCP map. I mean, obviously anyone can buy it, but MCP's been getting more and more, traction. And so we
Shelby
figured,
doesn't like the abbreviation.
MC Marvel
No, it's fine.
Marvel Crisis Protocol. Have
Marvel
you?
Crisis Protocol, yeah.
And so we will be having this at all Frontline Gaming events moving forward because it does seem to be getting exciting. A lot of people excited.
I've seen a lot of people playing it recently. It's kind of blown up in our little small town.
Oh, yeah, you work at your store, the store there. Yeah. So do you see people like do you see 40K players playing MCP? Or is it a completely different crowd?
Both. I see
cool.
40K players. Actually, Connor in the chat. Yep. Plays it like a mofo. And we have a lot of just random folks who enjoy D&D, honestly, and they were like, let's try out this other game that we've never, they're Marvel geeks, and they decided to give it a shot. And they're not typically miniatures players, but they absolutely love it. It's
sweet.
An easy to play, easy to understand game. So
yeah, Reese and I were just talking about you know what, maybe we need to give this a shot because it seems like everyone that plays it loves it, and so I think there's something there. Guys, also we did do our community poll, but it wasn't really a poll this week. It was more of a question. We're just trying to get an idea, a lot of discussion going on regarding the potential path to victory. We want to know what kind of format we should be running our events with. Should we be trying to avoid submarining, by designing the format to avoid that? We're proposing a win-loss draw format that does not use battle points until I guess the finals. But the idea is that if you go join our Frontline Gaming community group, you can be part of this conversation and part of helping us steer the ship that is Frontline Gaming into making the event the exact format you think is most fair. Right now, it seems like a lot of people are really excited about the win-loss draw format that does not use battle points to determine pairings. We'll discuss all this later on, though, because I think Shelby's going to go into more detail. And guys, I just want to give you a heads up because this is something that's also been coming up, and I don't want to talk about COVID. I mean, everyone's sick of COVID, but we do need to discuss it.
Sick.
I know, right?
Let's not make COVID jokes, guys.
I have to joke from crying. It's fine.
Well, Shelby, Seth, as you guys know, Delta is a thing, and it is impacting. Right, the airline,
that's
right?
That's the last COVID joke.
So, geez, I mean, you're not a dad. Well, I mean, you're a doggy dad. I guess you can be a dad.
Oh, I have to make dad jokes. It's contractually obligated for my job.
Okay, all right, fine.
So the punchline of this whole conversation is what, Kicker?
Well, to make a long story short, it looks like we are having to prepare to adjust ourselves accordingly. A lot of cities, major cities, and New Orleans included, have started to release information or new ordinances specifically targeting Delta. So in New Orleans, which is not just our event in December, but the GW event in October, New Orleans has now got a new rule in place that you cannot be inside a building, an event, a bar or restaurant, unless you provide proof of vaccination. So that, as of right now, is the case. We can't adjust that or change that. That's just the fact of life here in New Orleans, and that event's going to be happening. So if you are attending the GW event or if you're attending the Frontline Gaming event in December, just be aware of what the local ordinances are. Frontline Gaming is doing everything in their part to err on the side of caution. So if you're somebody that doesn't like erring on the side of caution, then that's totally understandable. But ultimately, the cities, the ordinances, the local mayors have got a lot of things in effect that are not negotiable. So at this point, you need to be able to provide proof of vaccination or show your card, show that you've been you've tested negative using not the rapid test, the other test. I always forget the cool slang word.
PCR.
Yeah, PCR. You got to be able to show a PCR test. So that's just the way to get in now. And a lot of places, I can only speak for where I'm at right now in New Orleans, but they're checking. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, that's a rule, no one's really paying attention. No, they're checking. So I know our venue, they will be checking at the door to get in. That's just the way it is, and that's life right now. So if you do have questions, you can always email us, talk to us. We, if you have concerns, but at the end of the day, we have to follow the local ordinances.
Yeah,
for sure.
Kicker, can I ask a question then?
Yeah,
so we know that's what's going on for New Orleans. Do we know what the local ordinances are right now for Las Vegas and SoCal?
So I don't want to speak for Las Vegas teams because that seems like everything. I don't want to misspeak. So I don't know what it is as of this week. I do know what it is as of this week in SoCal because I was just on the phone discussing that venue. Anyone can obviously go online and check out what's happening in Vegas. I don't believe Vegas has social distancing right now still in place. I think you still have to have your mask on. I don't believe Las Vegas requires proof of vaccination, but that could literally change by the time this episode airs tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, things change really quickly. Like, I literally got a text message from like neworleans.gov. Just, hey, by the way, you can't go to, the bar down the street unless you have your card showing that you're vaccinated.
Helpful.
Yeah, this is like overnight. So anyway, I don't know what it is in Vegas. In SoCal, though, as of right now, there's been no increase in the requirements. Nothing has changed. But like I said, that could change by the time October happens and we're in Southern California.
Yep.
So moving on to a positive note, though, we have continued to add events to SoCal. We've just added Monpoc. So you may not care about Monpoc, Monster Apocalypse, or that Privateer Press game, but maybe your friends do. So you can come play 40K and bring your X-Wing, Star Wars Legion, Marvel Crisis Protocol friends with you, so you can all hang out, play 40K or whatever game you want all day long, and then hang out in the evening in an amazing part of the country. So we're still adding games to that. And then the other thing that I'm really pumped to share, guys, is that we're still adding more and more ITC reps. Literally today, I just added 2 more. Guess what, guys? The ITC is officially in Italy. Woohoo! Yeah!
Woo for you, Italian listeners.
Shelby, I think you and I have a tournament trip planned for Italy.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I'm sorry, Ryan.
I think we need to go to Italy to check out some tournaments just to make sure.
Is this on FLG's time? Let's go.
Yeah, I think we need to do this just to make sure that we're representing the whole of the community.
Rome, here we come, baby.
Yeah. Do it.
Oh, wait, there's that whole travel during.
Darn it. We can't go literally anywhere.
Guys, we're trying to stay happy and positive right now.
Yeah, happy.
Not testing positive for COVID, just positive in terms of emotions, but yeah. Shelby, why don't you tell us what's happening on the FLGN right now?
Sure. So a few things from this past week, and I don't have a whole lot about what's coming up, but at least this past week, yesterday, the Grim After Dark interviewed, I believe, Tim Penny about his open experience this past weekend, and apparently the dozens of podcasts that he's on. Pretty sure that's an exaggeration, but I guess that is to say Tim Penny is kind of all over the place. As per usual. That he is ever present. As per usual, they're nice and snarky and sarcastic and delightful over on Grim After Dark. So go listen to that. Also the week before, they interviewed Marshall Peterson about his Necrons and all that fun stuff. So you can go back a couple of weeks and listen to that one. Can we
find a way to get Marshall Peterson on more podcasts? He's just
probably
he's like really intelligent. The way he described how he played his army was just like mind blown. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just like, we need to get this guy on our show. That's all.
Ask him? Question mark. Right?
We got to wait long enough so that his resume gets something else on it, because otherwise every time I've tried to plan a guest John over at Mob Rules Grim After
Dark, they
steal them. Yeah. So we have to like do it as like a surprise thing. We can't we said it this week, so they're probably gonna have Marshall Peterson on again next week for some reason.
Oh yeah, just to spite you.
Yeah. So we just gotta make sure we kind of like slow roll it so they don't know what's happening.
All right. So we shouldn't be talking about it during the airing of the podcast.
Got to keep our guests secret, guys.
All right, cool.
Another thing that you can look out for is the chief librarian, talked a bit about this a couple of weeks ago and how this was a new lore hobby-focused show, and it seems like it's kicking off with a pretty great start. So episode 2, they have Ricky Addington, who, if you don't know, Ricky Addington is just an absolute delight. He is one of my favorite people, and I don't know that he listens to the show, but if he does, Ricky, just know that I miss you. Come back. Anyways, he talks about they have a really great discussion about making your own custom Space Marine Legion, because Ricky has been trying to do that lately, and how to do that for Crusade. Apparently, Ricky has also made his own data sheet for a particular character that he had in mind. And so just in general, how to brainstorm a new Marine Legion. And then after that, they kind of talk a little bit about something that I had never heard of because I'm bad at 40K lore, called Enuncia. This is like the magic language of 40K. They go into a really deep conversation about Enuncia. I know it's hard to believe there's more than one word in the 40K universe, Seth. I know.
Wow.
So Chapter Tactics talks a little bit about...
Oh, we lost
her. Did we lose Shelby? Did we lose Shelby?
Shelby
am I back?
is back.
She's back.
Yes. Haha. See?
Back in black.
I spoke the name Chapter Tactics and something came and struck from beyond and just froze me in place. It's fine. Just go watch them, I guess. That's all I'm going to say, lest I be frozen again.
Are we getting attacked by the other shows on the network?
I think we are. Jeez.
Dislike. It's fine. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for FLG network stuff. Do you guys want to talk about some pairings shenanigans?
Yeah.
You're so excited to talk about pairings. That is not the response I expected, but I guess I should have known better. So I would like to actually dive into this topic that we asked you guys about on Facebook, because we got a lot of really thoughtful answers, and I can see why it is a pretty hefty argument. So pairings has been a hotly debated subject for 40K events recently, particularly because bigger 40K events have, at least for now, and I hope they will continue to be, made a tremendous return. A lot of people are talking about what the best, fairest way is. Fairest? Most fair? Most fair way to pair folks up is, because turns out making that as fair as possible and making sure that path to victory is also clear at the same time is a really difficult ask. And since FLG events are ongoing, and feedback from players and how things go at other tournaments can help create this ideal system, I think FLG is, and the ITC circuit in general, is looking to even make minor tweaks to how they can pair people up in order to create that best experience and see what does and doesn't work. So Shelby needs to make a roadmap. What does that mean, Kelsey? Sorry. Anyways,
Shelby's like reading comments randomly.
My bad. So some of these options, just in case you've only been to a tournament with a particular type of pairing, some options include pure battle points. So just you pair people solely on the points that they throughout the tournament, and don't even look at whether they won or lost. It's just battle points. Second option is actually looking at win, loss, draw. Third option is trying to create pairings based off the win path of players previously. So who have they played previously and how does that impact who they should play next? And then combinations of all of the above. I have mostly been to tournaments that do win, loss, draw followed up by battle points. So ties within that win, loss, draw, who plays next is determined by battle points. But I saw a lot of discussion in that chat about win, loss, draw followed by random pairings.
Yeah.
So just in general, wanting to get your thoughts about it. My only real contribution before I let it go to you guys and perhaps the chat, if they have some comments they'd like to make, is that John Lennon made a point that I really liked and I really vibe with more than most. And that's that the random pairing aspect rather than battle points adds a bit of excitement to the game that may not be there otherwise, right? So there have been plenty of tournaments I've been to recently where you go home after day one and you look at the roster of people in the order and you know exactly who you're going to play the next morning unless somebody drops. And to me, that's not fun. I kind of don't want to know. And I know that from
Shelby just wants ramen and probably a
hear.
Moscow Mule and bed.
Oh man, I'm gone again. Fuck. Sorry. Oh,
Back,
no, I'm back.
You came back right at the exact wrong moment.
Great. But no, I mean, I understand from a pro's perspective, it actually is great to know. Is the floating head here? Watch me say curse words. Great. Thank you, floating
Sir Val is here.
No, stop. Okay. Don't scratch my head. Anyways, I know that from a professional's perspective, it is good to know who you're going to play. And that's how a lot of the upper tier players practice and get ready. They will go home and play more 40K before the second day. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Where are you leaning towards this decision of pairings?
Seth, take it. Yeah, go for it, Seth.
Yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts.
Okay, go for it. Unleash the vent.
No, it's not a vent. It just I mean, this is all spawned from the thing we talked about last week, the submarining that Manny did at the Hellstorm Gaming event. And in a perfect world, win, loss, draw, followed by battle points, gets you, if everyone plays to the best of their ability, it gets you, to a closer opponent in terms of skill level quicker. Versus win, loss, draw with random pairings, for the first round or two, you might have some mismatches in terms of player skill. And sometimes those games feel bad. So I understand why for the longest time we've done win, loss, draw with battle points, but with the prevalence that people have been gaming that system, I think win, loss, draw followed by random pairings is the best option to make the play as fair as possible. We'll get into it later, but that's what was actually used at the GW event this past weekend. And there weren't any, major kerfuffles because of that. So it's something that most of the pairing software has the ability to do. I think it's just an easy switch for us as a community to make to ensure that there aren't people that are trying to game the system.
Yeah.
So question, because I don't keep up with mostly like how pairings were done this past weekend. I probably should have because we're talking about it on this segment, but whatever. So did the Open this past weekend also use win path in their calculations?
Yep.
So
it was win path followed by randomized within your win path.
Hey, Seth, just to help for some of the newer players, the people that are tuning in, why don't you describe what win path means?
Certainly, yeah. So win path it's very much a baby of Mike Brandt's. I'm sure it's not his idea. Someone before him probably used it from some other system, but that's the thing that he ran a lot of the time in Nova. And so essentially, the difference between win, loss, draw versus win path is, say day one, I win my first two games and I lose my third. In win path pairings, the fourth game the next morning, I will be paired into someone else who has also won their first two games and lost their third. Versus in win, loss, draw, I can get paired into anyone that has a total of 2 wins and 1 loss. Mm-hmm. So they could have been someone that lost the first round and then won their next 2 games, won the first round, lost the second round, won the third round, any combination of those. And win path also gets you to a more true level of competition because you're following someone that's kind of had the same path through the tournament as you have had. So you're going to end up getting, as you get towards the end, you should be getting closer and closer and closer in terms of competition at each game.
Yeah.
And that ideally prevents things like submarining, for example, not necessarily in battle points, but even just whether or not you win or lose.
Yep.
Cool. Gotcha. Well, thank you for that awesome breakdown. I think most people are in agreement with you on this one, that win-loss followed by random is probably going to be the best way to try moving forward. I am really interested to see how that goes for any of the big events that we do moving forward. I mean, like you said, the Open did that with much success. So
I mean, people really seem to like it, and Frontline Gaming really tries to see what people like and do what we can do to do that ourselves if we can. So yeah, there's really positive feedback from the GW Roadshow in Orlando. So I think we're gonna nothing's set in stone yet. We're still considering ideas, but that's why we want your opinion. That's why we want your feedback. And the Frontline Gaming Community spot page is the best place to give that feedback. With that all said, guys, once again, if you're running an event, you can do whatever you want. If you want to do your own format, you can do your own format. Just because it's an ITC event does not mean you have to follow the format that we use. Hey, do you guys want to talk anything else on this topic? Where are we at with this?
I think that's just sort of explaining what those differences are. Yeah. Most folks in the chat are just commenting on either agreeing or like elaborating on why random pairing is probably the way to go. So now I hope that this has helped any.
I'm going to piss off the YouTube commenters. What do they do in Magic, Shelby?
No,
according to Kelsey, people intentionally draw in the last round in order to get to the top 8. So cuts to the top 8 are pretty dangerous. But we really shouldn't be comparing how we run Warhammer tournaments to Magic the Gathering.
We're better than those dirty card
far more prestigious.
Okay. Hold on a second. Hold on, sir. I have been reinserting myself into Magic the Gathering, so I'm going to need you to not.
Okay, sorry.
Tone it down. So you're a card flopper now, Shelby.
Oh my God! Why would you do this? I know where you live. It is 2 minutes down the road.
5 minutes down the road.
Yeah, hardly.
And I
Whatever,
have
man.
guard dogs.
Yeah, definitely. All of your dogs, definitely the guard variety. Totally gonna just
2 of them are sitting next to me right now.
Vicious. A lot of them.
And then I have an attack wife that she will hug you and not let you get any further in the house.
That's so true. So true. And thank you for going on that journey with us, folks. Moving on, I think, to our competitive 40K. Seth, what we got?
All right. Well, as everyone knows, we had the GW Open this past weekend. I talked about it already. They did use WinPath with randomization within there for their pairings. Generally speaking, seemed pretty well received. It did prevent players from submarining. And most people felt that they got them to kind of skill level equal games pretty quickly. The terrain, they also did their pre-placed terrain. They changed it between day 1 and day 2. And generally speaking, that terrain was received pretty positively. It was kind of more dense than most folks were previously used to playing on. Mike Brandt, I talked to him. He reported that they had a 51% go first win rate, which is you look at it. Yeah, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for balance in that stat because that way someone doesn't have the option to shoot you off the table immediately.
I'm pretty flabbergasted by that, actually. That statistic is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good number. So, I think that's something definitely to look into. I kind of asked a lot of the players that went, what did you feel the player base was? Because it is here in the southeast of the U.S. And so I know a lot of folks in this community. And generally speaking, they felt the event was kind of a bit more casual than not how it was run, but the player base themselves. There were a lot more less serious tournament players there. It was a bunch more kind of a friendly tournament, if that makes sense, which is a good thing. So I think maybe having that GW brand associated with it kind of got some folks to come out of the woodwork, which is good because then we get people into the tournament community and say, hey, look, it's not so bad. So that's a chance a lot of these players had to kind of get out there. They also did kind of some social aspects because Mike Brandt always loves to have him a good party. So they had hang out and chat with a bunch of folks. And then one night they actually did a screening of the first episode of Hammer and Bolter there. Oh, wow. So you got to hang out and watch that with everyone. So that sounded pretty cool. But overall, it sounded like it was a pretty well-run event. It was received pretty positively. I watched a lot of the stream, nod to the folks behind the scenes here on our setup. They were helping out. Papa Val and Rich were helping out with the GW stream. So good job on you guys for doing that. I hope you steal all of their cool tips and bring them back to us. But what did you guys pay attention to the GW Open, how that went?
Yes.
Sorry, I just noticed I disappeared for a second. It was interesting. Anyways, just go ahead, Kicker. Sorry.
No, I think it was really, really well done. I mean, I liked the new technology that was used on the stream. And of course Paul and Nick Nadavati, they were great. So delightful. Yeah, they were great. So
they did a great job, except for Nick's stupid tagline drove me nuts.
Which was? Let's just
My
hear
name's
it.
Nick Nanavati, and it's time to potty. And he said it with like a thick Jersey accent. So that the first time it actually sounded like he said potty, which I then clipped off of Twitch because I was just like, bro.
That's yours now.
Yes.
So, oh man.
It was, but he handed up. He had a good time with it, which was fun. So, it was a good time to watch. And Paul has a good balancing effect on Nick. So it was a good matchup.
Very cool.
Well, it's like the Starsky and Hutch of you don't know that you need them until you do. All right, let's get to the ITC recap. For not a whole lot of movement this week. The open scores haven't gone in yet. So for the 40K competitive track, we've got our number 5 is Colin McDade. Number 4 is Mark Hurdle. Number 3 is Brad Chester. There we go. There's our graphic. Hi, graphic. Number 2 is Sean Naden. And number 1 still is the boy king, John Lennon.
The boy king.
He did. He made it all the way to the finals.
But Richard Siegler won the Open, right?
Overall, right?
Yeah. Clearly, the king cannot defeat the robot. Plain and simple. The logic machine that is Richard Siegler cannot be defeated by the charm of Boy King.
That's fair.
Love you guys. So 40K hobby track. Number 5 is Scott Boucher. Number 4, Noah Beto. Number 3, Nicholas Schwenker. Number 2, JT Steger, and number 1, Lee Harris. I think we've kind of hit the point in the season where, we haven't seen a whole lot of movement here. Mm-hmm. People seem to be kind of pretty well locked in. If you look at the top 10s there, a lot of those guys already got their kind of max number of scores in. But take a look there, Shelby. You see who number 6 is?
No, I can't read.
I can't read the
Marshall Peterson.
Oh, hey. Cool. Great.
Your beloved Necron friend.
I'm so happy about that.
Yep.
I bet he doesn't even listen to this, and he's like, "Who the heck is that chick?" That's fine.
Who the heck?
She's just a weird background player.
He's contractually obligated as a guest of Grimdark to listen to all FLGN podcasts.
Yep.
Yes, that's how that works.
Yes,
exactly how it works.
AOS competitive track. We did have a little bit of movement there, I believe, this week. Number 5 is Patrick Shiflett. Number 4, James O'Brien. Number 3 is Ramon Silva. Number 2 is No Aquino. And I'm going back to the no pronunciation because no one contacted me to tell me I was right or wrong. And then number 1 is Anthony Trettinelli.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. The hobby track. I actually did see some notes from last week that some folks think the hobby track is busted for AOS hobby. I don't think that's a busted on terms of how we're scoring it, right? As the ITC, I think it's maybe how scores are getting put in by the TOs, but that's something to look into, maybe.
Yeah, but we are looking into it on the back end. I'm trying to discuss with the BCP guys to see if there is something going on back there, because Kicker
is summoning the tech priests, and he will light the incense and smear the holy oils on the BCP and make it work.
That's a direction I didn't see that going.
Have you not read any books about how AdMech do crap?
Seth, I can't read.
Yeah, you are a card flopper. Anyway,
geez.
number 5 is Ramon Silva. Number 4, Chris Daughtry. Number 3, Chris Hernandez. Number 2, Nick Garcia. And number 1, No Aquino. And there you have it, your rundown for this week. We didn't have a lot of listener questions. I think I intimidated people with my Will McAvoy gif.
Ask us stuff.
Ask us stuff. So you can ask us stuff in chat. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for chat to ask us things,
don't be jerks about it either.
Shelby, there's a question for you to read to Kicker.
Kicker! Oh, yes. Bill from Toronto asks, will Frontline Gaming incorporate the terrain rules that GW used in Orlando?
Okay, so as everyone by this time knows, GW did use, a preset deployment sort of terrain. It was pretty considered. It was dense. It was all in plexiglass. It was beautifully painted. I think it was best described. So I heard someone, I think it was actually in Grim After Dark, the interview there. They were talking about the terrain being a lot like 8th edition terrain, that all the first floors were boarded up on the ruins. Will Frontline Gaming be using that? At this time, no. We've got a lot of terrain. We can't just adjust our terrain to look exactly like that. To make all that terrain from scratch will take a long time. We do like that terrain. We're not saying it's bad terrain or anything. It's just that we can't, adjust ourselves to make that happen. What we did do, though, which Seth and I talked about last week, was the player optimized terrain. I believe the abbreviation is POT.
Correct.
POT.
If you listened last night to Grim After Dark, they also made player optimized optical placement.
Poop.
Yes. So you can have pot or poop, your choice.
I mean, we are such professional grown-ups here. But
I feel like that's a really clear choice.
Yes, right.
Like a super
what do you want a
choice.
bag of? I mean,
oh my god.
You had to use bag in that.
So Frontline Gaming, using 9th edition rules and the terrain that we have, about 1,000 tables worth of, is using pot or player optimized terrain rules to help make the game as balanced as possible. And the feedback's been great on that. I don't think we'll be changing or adding plexiglass bases to our tables, or having
terrain already has bases on it though.
It already has
it's MDF.
So we don't really need it. But with that said, we're always updating and making new stuff, and who knows what we'll have this time next year. So, do we get anything in the chat, guys?
We do, but before it scrolls away, Kara Quinn wants to know why there's 5 AOS events and 4 or 6 40K events for hobby scoring.
That's a really good question.
That's something.
That is a good question. Is that intentional? I don't know. I have no idea.
More investigation.
But I did want to mention something about the terrain while we had this topic on.
Go for it.
I actually like the idea of GW and FLG doing terrain differently.
Oh, okay.
Because if both systems work, if you have this is a preset, I can practice on preset deployment, and then a different system using different. You guys are basically completely different terrain pieces of terrain. It's not even like you're using the same actual models for terrain. You've got completely different sets. Because I'm writing orc lists right now. I'm going to the team event for the end of September, and I'm writing an orc list for that. But then I'm writing a different orc list for the GW event in New Orleans, because I'm like, well, that one's going to be a lot more dense cover. It's going to be a lot harder, or not the actual dense cover, but a lot more less line of sight. I have to think of a different army. So it can help kind of keep the game fresh if you jump between those.
Is the spice of life and all that.
I really do. I mean, Shelby, you didn't play a ton of ITC missions, but do you remember jumping between ITC missions and Warzone Atlanta missions, a year or two ago?
Oh yeah, that was weird.
It was weird. It was weird, but it was fun to kind of be like,
I was really intimidated.
I'm going to think how to play the game differently for a bit. And that's just the way to do that, still kind of using the same mission set. So I like that idea.
For sure.
Anyway,
it keeps it fresh.
Ruler of Chaos wants to know our take on whether Thousand Sons will be able to take on the top armies. Like, I guess did we see the same power creep as before within the codexes for Thousand Sons and Grey Knights?
I mean, Seth, I have not had any experience. I've not even read the Codex yet for either Thousand Sons or Grey Knights. I've heard from our wonderful producer that he loves Grey Knights and that he apparently has gone 5-0 so far.
Yeah, Grey Knights are going to be strong. Thousand Sons are going to be strong. I don't know. I think they're going to affect how the top armies play in the meta. Because the Thousand Sons can just put out a silly amount of mortal wounds. Grey Knights have a silly. They also can shoot well and do a lot of good psychic buffs and fight really well. So I think we're just getting right now the top armies really aren't considering how they're going to deal with psychic. But that if you don't have a plan of how you're going to handle psychers and you show up against Thousand Sons or Grey Knights, it's not going to be a good day. So I think it's going to modify how it's going to change the meta at the top end. I don't know if it's going to change and then Dark Eldar and Admech still can blow them off the table and it doesn't matter. So that remains to be seen. I want them to be good. I want them to get on the higher end of the tier ranks, if you will, and see how they do.
Like any codex that comes, right? As soon as people start to realize how to counter it or play against it, everything starts to balance out a little bit more. And going from having no psychic heavy armies to having two hitting the tables at the same time, I think that people are going to adjust pretty quickly. All right, I
got one here that I need to say before it goes away.
Go.
Mayobi says that might not be the best person to ask a question, but I'm brand new to Warhammer. What are the best takeaways a new player should look for when watching people play the army that they're trying to learn?
Yay! Welcome to 40K.
Yeah. Okay.
There's only war.
Sorry. I've been watching that question just slowly inch down our list of chat, and I was like, it's going to go away. No, it's a good one.
No, I'm glad that you were considerate for it. I guess as a brand new to Warhammer player, honestly, my suggestion would be while you're watching people play, to just watch the rules of the game and less your army to start with, and pay attention to the rules for your army. I mean, like, if you would like to see what sort of tactical decisions they're making and how they're moving around the board with what units, I think you can sort of pick up on that. But honestly, I think it's, at least for me, it was important to have a grasp on the actual rules of the overall game before I started focusing in on what army I wanted to play. But you guys probably have a different take.
I mean, I'm going to just say, and I know this is a little gung-ho, but I learned so much by going to an RTT, kind of just not knowing what I was doing. But not only did I learn from having 3 games back-to-back against, qualified players, but each player I played at my first RTT was so generous with their time, showing me how I can become a better player, that at the end of that one day, I was like ready to go. Like, I knew what I needed to build next, what I needed to adjust in terms of what rules I needed to read. It was a really good experience. I know that's a little bit more of a general response, but I don't know. I mean, if you're willing to, if you know the basic rules, you can play a few games. Get just to a very casual RTT and get that time in playing some reps and learning from really cool people.
So my suggestion, because we're running on quite a bit of time, but there's 2 more questions that are in the chat that I think would be awesome to answer very quickly, kind of our lightning round style.
All right.
First of all, somebody, Gazillion says he's putting together his first knight ever. Have the chassis put together, but no weapons yet. No, knights aren't super competitive, but what do you think I should put together, thinking about trying to be competitive? So I guess, what sort of weapon loadout do you guys have any advice on weapon loadouts for knights?
I do. Magnets.
Okay. Do it.
Magnets.
That's actually a really great answer.
Magnetize your knights. That way you can swap out your loadouts. You'll be very happy with that decision. And you can find lots of tutorials online.
That is the right answer. Knights are big models. They're almost designed to work with magnets.
And then next up, any tips for people trying to learn AOS coming from 40K? And honestly, the only thing I have to say to that, Creator Gator, great name, is just that there's honestly, with the background of 40K, I just watched a demo of AOS in our store the other day. It is really intuitive. If you already know the rules for 40K, it is ridiculously easy to pick up AOS. Cool. It is a slightly more melee-oriented game, but overall, really, really easy to get into. So I guess, honestly, just pay attention to those few differences. But for the most part, like, it's a really easy transition. So that's my 2 cents.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've gotten lots of great listener questions tonight. We thank you, live chat. Again, if you're listening to this recording and you want to hang out with us, we do this every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. You can hop in the chat and chat with us, and we'll answer your questions. Don't forget, SoCal tickets are still available. Grab those while you can. I'm considering it.
Do it.
Are you really?
Do it.
I mean, like,
the other day,
Shelby,
sure,
don't you want to go to like California in October?
Yeah. I mean, no. Wait, what?
Yes, you do.
I want to go.
No, okay, you go.
We'll
Anyways.
Mainly because Danny's going and I want a chance to defeat him again. There he is, Pizza Danny. It's Upside Down Pizza Danny, Angel, run away.
That's really creepy.
Don't forget to check out the other shows on the FLGN. You've got tomorrow's going to be a Thursday show, so be excited to see what's coming up there. And then the cycle starts again with Grim After Dark on Tuesday. And maybe, just maybe, you'll finally get that beloved chapter tactics.
You mean
Maybe
Stat
not.
Center? Stat Center?
Or there, Stat Center.
Stat Center.
Yeah.
Stat
Yeah.
Center.
It's been so long, you don't even remember the name of the
I
show.
forgot the name of the show.
Other show.
Val.
All
All right. Final thoughts for the night. Kicker, Shelby.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks, guys, for a lively chat. You guys have been fantastic. With the floating Hefe, get away, please.
You're not worried about
Thank
the pizza
you.
angel that's still attacking you?
He's been there now for a minute. It's fine.
What if the cheese drips?
Okay. There we go. Anyway,
All right.
I feel like we should just apologize again to people who listen to this episode post in the podcast, because they're just like so confused.
If they've made it this long, they don't. Yes, you are heroes. I love you.
Indeed.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Signals from the Frontline. Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday.
See y'all.
Bye, guys.